Which cryptocurrency is being attacked by the SEC after XRP? How long will crypto holders believe in Ripple? How much will XRP cost in mid-2020? 3. We will answer all these questions in today's video. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple Labs, has attacked the chairman of the U.S., Gary Gensler of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, for determining whether crypto tokens are securities. On Thursday, Garlinghouse tweeted, "It defies logic for the SEC chair to say that he determines what constitutes a security, rather than the statute from which his agency obtains its authority. It is past time for elected authorities in the United States to take notice." Why would you ever want to offer clarity about what's in or out when you act like an authoritarian overseeing a $2.02 be bloated agency? When there is no clear jurisdiction, uncertainty masquerades as authority, Garlinghouse said. The Ripple executive made the statement in response to Gensler's claim that current securities laws cover most of the activity that's going on in the crypto markets. Gensler was quoted as saying, "If Congress were to act, though I don't think we need these authorities not to undermine inadvertently through definitions of what's in or out, or in essence, allowing for conflicts that we don't allow. Several of the legislative vehicles, in my opinion, would weaken the securities remit if they were implemented." Since December 2020, when the SEC filed a complaint against Ripple, Garlinghouse, and co-founder Chris Larsen, the business has been involved in a legal battle with the securities regulator. The SEC declared XRP to be a security, although Ripple and Garlinghouse have continually denied this. Gensler has underlined the need of Bitcoin exchanges and lending platforms coming in to discuss how to comply with the SEC on multiple occasions. Garlinghouse, on the other hand, has accused the SEC of engaging with crypto businesses simply to generate leads for its enforcement division. There have also been persistent accusations that the SEC lacks clear regulatory rules, making it difficult for crypto firms to assure compliance. The SEC has issued a Wells notice to the NASDAQ-listed cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase investigating alleged securities law breaches. In its reaction, the business said the SEC will not allow crypto companies come in and register. "We tried." However, Gensler has consistently stated that, with the exception of Bitcoin, all crypto tokens are considered securities. While the cryptocurrency industry awaits the summary judgment in the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, lawsuit against blockchain startup Ripple, the case has taken a new twist that has the potential to greatly influence the ultimate conclusion. In instance, lawyer Bill Morgan stated in a tweet on April 7 that the SEC's expert confessed that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum, ETH, prices had been responsible for up to 90s of changes in the value of XRP since mid-2018. If the SEC's expert premise is correct, he believes Ripple is indirectly allowing the value of XRP to be impacted by Bitcoin and Ethereum price movements. As a result, the SEC aims to support the allegation by giving proof that Ripple's pricing announcements affect the value of XRP. Significantly, Morgan's theory is supported by the fact that Bitcoin's value changes affect the prices of the majority other cryptocurrencies. Morgan also said that the notion that Ripple's large XRP holdings indicate centralization of the XRP ledger and that XRP qualifies as a security remains. It's worth mentioning that Ripple is being sued by the SEC for selling unregistered securities in the form of XRP coins. As part of its argument, Ripple is appealing for unsealing of Hyman's speech papers, where the regulator described Bitcoin and Ethereum as securities. Surprisingly, Morgan agreed with the SEC's conclusion that investors relied on Ripple's legal efforts to win the SEC complaint. The attorney further highlighted that investors do not expect Ripple's commercial activities to make money from XRP, but rather that the business would prevail in the SEC action. Paradoxically, the SEC may be accurate about investors depending on Ripple's efforts, but not because of Ripple's commercial efforts or XRP sales, but because of Ripple's legal efforts, which will defeat the SEC's case if it is successful. He added, Jeremy Hogan, another pro-XRP lawyer, projected an unexpected conclusion for the lawsuit based on Morgan's words. Hogan predicted that if the presiding judge opted to split the baby, she may determine that XRP sales after mid-2018 were not securities, since the SEC acknowledges that Ripple's activities during that time period had no impact on the token's value. If the judge in the Ripple case wanted to split the babies, awful term, isn't it? She could find that sales of XRP since mid-2018 were not securities, since even the SEC admits that Ripple's activities had absolutely no influence on XRP's price at that point in time. He remarked, Hogan also mentioned the potential consequences of such a judgment, implying that Ripple may be compelled to pay a fine while continuing to operate its company. Moreover, since XRP is the only cryptocurrency with a defined legal position, Hogan believes it may affect the listing of digital assets on multiple trading platforms. Nonetheless, uncertainty regarding the timing for the summary judgment remains. Earlier, several legal experts predicted that the issue would be decided in the first quarter of 2023. Ultimately, the decision of the lawsuit is likely to have an influence on the value of XRP and the whole crypto industry. In the weekly chart, XRP is now trading at 51 cents, up roughly 1. Recently, some members of the XRP community have asked on Twitter why Judge Annalisa Torres has not yet rendered her decision in the case between Ripple and the SEC. Many Ripple and XRP supporters anticipated the judge's decision would come before the end of the previous month, as predicted by pro-XRP attorney James Fallon. This wasn't the case, however, which raised concerns about the delay's potential reason. Attorney John Deaton, the creator of crypto law, outlined the reasons behind Judge Torres' delay in rendering a decision on the lawsuit's summary judgment in a video clip that has been making the rounds in the XRP community. Judge Torres, according to lawyer Deaton, is taking her time to make sure she makes the proper decision because she is aware of the importance of the action. He questioned if Judge Torres had ever experienced the kind of pressure she has in the Ripple litigation, particularly from the blockchain business, during her whole tenure. I sincerely doubt Judge Torres has ever experienced the stress she is now going through. Judge, Ripple is sending look at what the Voyager judge stated, what the Supreme Court said about fair notice, the SEC's actions, Binance, and the CFI's actions, Binance, and the CEFTES, among other things. Deaton was cited as adding. He clarified that these events are taking place at a time when he and many other people claimed that her ruling in the litigation will provide the U.S. crypto market with regulatory certainty. He emphasized that since 1946, the time of the Howey case, the pending Ripple v. SEC complaint, is the most major non-fraud SEC enforcement action. Deaton continued by saying he does not hold Judge Torres responsible for the speed at which she formulates her ruling. Deaton claims that Judge Torres is under a lot of pressure since she is aware that if she rules against Ripple, the blockchain corporation would file an appeal with a higher court. He noted that the judge must provide an explanation of her reasoning if she awards summary judgment to Ripple. So, he added, I don't blame Judge Torres for being extremely cautious about how she works on this judgment because if it goes against Ripple, she knows it's going to a conservative court, and if it is for Ripple, she has to defend it. Attorney Deaton also asked the XRP community to be patient, since the decision is not as straightforward as many believe. Days prior to his most recent statement, Deaton said that Judge Torres may take as long as 2 months to make a decision about the complaint. Thousands of XRP holders are represented in the lawsuit by Deaton as an amici curiae, friend of the court, and she claims that Judge Torres' summary judgment decision often follows her decision on the Daubert motions by a few months. Deaton said on March 31 that the decision might take up to 60 days in light of this.